All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining me every day on the interwebs. I know I kind of snuck up on you today, but I see people are coming in to all the streams. Got a couple people watching on Rockfin, YouTube. We're live on Callin. We're live on Twitter. And thanks for joining in today. All right. Well, what's been happening? What's happening in the last 24 hours? Or maybe it was about 21 hours since I was last on the live. Poppy sent me something. Billionaires for genocide. Billionaires are teaming up for pro-Israel, anti-Hamas media drive. You don't say. Billionaires? No. From Caitlin Johnson. On Israeli TV, Avi Dichter, Israel's Minister for Agriculture and former head of Shin Bet, I don't know, I think that's how you say it. He admits out loud, we are now actually rolling out the Gaza Nakba. Don't know if you all know what the Nakba is. Palestinian supporters in October. Well, obviously they're not going to admit that what they're doing is ethnic cleansing. But if you watch their actions, that's clearly what's happening. Palestinian supporters in November, excuse me. Okay, so now they're just saying it. They're saying it out loud. Ethnic cleansing. Got to get us some preemptive genocide, which was going to be the title of the show. Maybe I'll change it back to that. Preemptive genocide has a ring to it, don't you think? From extreme temperatures around the world, 46 C again in Argentina, this time in Rivadavia. Rivadavia. I think that's how you say it. It's very, very poetic sounding. Rivadavia. Monthly record set today, 46 Rivadavia, 44 Oran, 42.2 Jujuy, 42.5 Tinogasta. In other countries in South America, 43, 41, 40, 39, 41, 41, and 40 in Trinidad. Very warm temperatures. More from extreme temperatures around the world. Extraordinary warmth in the Middle East and the Caucasus. A November like none before. Minimum temperature is still not dropping below 29 C in some Emirate islands. Minimum temperatures. 30 C every day in Turkey and Cyprus. Russia with 25 to 29 C, even at high elevations, above 1,000 meters. Today, Makop in Russia is reaching 27 C. 27 C. Very warm for November in Russia. From Go Green, UN says, this is an older article, just a year ago, but we might come back to this. UN says up to 40% of the world's land now degraded. Green areas that are intensely farmed or stripped of natural vegetation. In Australia, pro-Palestinian activists blocked the exit of a ship with military cargo for the Israeli army. We're seeing a lot of that happening around the world and in the U.S. too. And Godspeed and good on you to those that are blocking military weaponry from reaching Israel. Max Blumenthal says an Israeli tank commander killed while invading Gaza, previously described being ordered to shell Israeli homes on October 7th in Kibbutz Be'eri. His claim that he did checks to ensure no Israelis were inside the homes does not add up. It's increasingly clear many Israelis died from friendly fire on 10/7, on October 7th. Um, and Clown World, big old Clown World, to justify slaughtering thousands of Palestinian children, Israel President Herzog claims they found a Mein Kampf book translated into Arabic in a children's living room that was converted into a Hamas military operation base. Only clowns are supporting these idiots. Yeah, that's a good one. They're translating Mein Kampf into Arabic. That's who they are. Yeah. Again, this is what would you call this? Narcissistic projection. They're doing exactly what we're doing. What we're going to accuse them of it and somehow get away with it for a little while. In Brazil, there was a video of this rogue wave last week, and I did not play it. I just saw it. But there was a really large rogue wave in Brazil last week, and another rogue wave. This is Cardoso Beach in Laguna, Santa Catarina. Very scary, the rogue waves. It seems to happen mostly in the southern hemisphere, I'm noticing, but it also happens in, the Atlantic, Mediterranean, on the Atlantic coast of Europe. These rogue waves can happen. I can only imagine and suspect that they will get worse as climate change progresses, right? Because sea levels are elevated, and you're gonna have more storm energy in the system. We're also seeing elevated seismic activity, right? They're evacuating folks in Iceland due to an imminent eruption. Mexico getting it again. Heavy floods due to extreme rainfalls in the Fresnillo of Zacatecas in Mexico. Why don't I show these two videos real quick? We'll look at the rogue wave and we'll look at the floods. Well, I'll come back to these. I'll come back and show you. Rockfinners, what's up? How you doing? Everybody got some watchers, no chatters yet. Yeah, it doesn't help that I sneak the shows up on you, and I apologize for that. I did say, what the hell is going on here? I did say that I was going to be here at either 1 or 2 today, so it wasn't that big of a surprise. No. On YouTube says a rogue wave on Squirrel Island in Maine. Just missed the island and 25 feet 2 weeks ago. Wow, okay. It actually also makes me think back to Paul Beckwith years ago doing a story about giant boulders in South America being on the shoreline of, I forget which country, Uruguay maybe. And the theory of how those boulders got there was that in the past, when it was much warmer, there were huge, gigantic waves in the Atlantic, like 200-foot tall waves hitting the beach, and that's how they would throw up these giant rocks onto the shoreline. So we may be returning to an era of massive waves. Really, Judy Truitt. Okay. Anchorage declares a snow emergency with 2 feet of snow. 5 feet in the passes. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for the... I didn't see this, so thank you for alerting me. Record homeless deaths in Anchorage increases as major winter storm drops more than 2 feet of snow. Again, extreme weather, given, given and taking, but mostly given some hurt. And there are homeless everywhere. Alaska seeming to be a really harsh place to be homeless, right? I know that people can't get, they don't have when you're homeless, you have literally nothing, and so having any resources to do anything at all when you're homeless, obviously very difficult. But if I were homeless in Alaska or Chicago or New York or anywhere like that, I would the first thing I would do would be scrape together a bus ticket to get to somewhere warm. Like I just wouldn't, but I understand people are I mean, I can only imagine how difficult it would be to be homeless, period, and having being in that mental state would be really difficult. But if I had the wherewithal, I would get a bus ticket out of Alaska, Chicago, New York, Detroit, anywhere like that. I would not be homeless in any of those cities or in any of those areas. There's Phoenix, there's Vegas, there's LA, there's San Diego. There's lots of places to be homeless and not frozen to death. Sorry. See if I can get. We'll come back to this. Apparently, there's another snowstorm forecast for Monday. Well, that's climate change is marked by extreme weather. When it rains, it pours. California can testify to that, having gotten slammed this past winter with something like 13 atmospheric rivers, record snowfall, which actually did kill quite a few people, and really screwed a lot of things up. In the UK, Just Stop Oil was doing a blockade, and they got news that an ambulance was reported on Holloway Road where they were doing the blockade, and Just Stop Oil supporters immediately left the road. Then a police van across multiple lanes blocked the ambulance. So they're putting out this video basically saying we are not blocking people from getting to the hospital. It's the police that are doing that. So please don't blame it on us. And good on them for being conscientious, and doing the right thing, and also pointing out that they're not to blame for the ambulance getting blocked. They're just trying to block the road from business as usual. Man, this is a rather big story. Apparently, the Washington Post has put out a news story saying that a Ukrainian military officer coordinated the Nordstream pipeline attack. Washington Post. Chris Martinson posts this, says, the CIA would like you to know that the U.S. is done with Ukraine. Thank you. And there seems to be a lot of indications that they're cutting the cord with Ukraine and going all in on the Middle East. We'll just call it the Middle East. They see that Ukraine is a loser, and so they're letting go of that one. But that's rather big news. From holding Biden accountable, I don't believe Palestinian self-reported death toll. Palestine's self-reported death toll. Biden's own diplomats, it's actually much higher. Israel officials say, yeah, we killed double that many. We're going to come back to this. Fantomas sent me this. At SpaceX, worker injuries soar in Elon Musk's rush to Mars. And lastly, from Doomer Girl News, scientists flag conflicts of interest ahead of UN plastic and chemical talks. The group's warning comes as countries prepare to meet next week for the third UN plastic treaty negotiation session in Nairobi. Letting polluters have a say in pollution protections is the epitome of the fox guarding the henhouse. Let's look at this article for a bit. An international group of 35 scientists is calling out conflicts of interest plaguing global plastic treaty negotiations and that have interfered with timely action on other health and environmental issues. Well, thanks for calling it out. Took you all long enough. What about the oil industry being involved in the IPCC talks and the COP conferences? To be fair, people have called that out, but seems a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? No. Sorry. Trying to get this up on the screen here. Anyways, they said it's a conflict of interest. They urged the implementation of strict guidelines to prevent the same problems from affecting the UN's upcoming science policy panel on chemicals. Their concerns and recommendations are outlined in a feature paper in the journal Environmental Science and Technology. From big tobacco to big oil, powerful industries use the same playbook to manufacture doubt and sow misinformation. No, tell me more, said co-author Bethany Carney Almroth, a professor at the Department of Biological and Environmental Sciences, University of Gothenburg. The plastic and chemical industries already have a long history of deploying these tactics to hamper regulatory efforts. Our health and that of the planet upon which we rely can't afford any further subversion of efforts to reduce the widespread contamination of our air and water. The group's warning comes as countries prepare to meet next week for the third UN plastic treaty negotiation session in Nairobi. Though scientists had advised against it, the plastic and petrochemical industries were actively involved in the first round of negotiations in 2022. The paper notes that industry representatives pushed misleading statements, including the debunked claim that plastic production will help fight climate change. To date, no action has been taken to curb these conflicts of interest. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope that everybody is getting, people watching this show you all are very wise individuals, and you know the deal. You all are hip to what's going on, but a lot of people are not hip to the notion that our entire civilization runs on oil. Oil is necessary for pretty much everything that happens, and without it, our civilization would have to change in very profound ways. We would not be able to do all of the things that we can do. And most likely it would be most likely there would be, far fewer people on the planet. We wouldn't be able to grow as much food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hold on 1 second. Give me one moment, y'all. Wow. Well, that's warm. Hey, the person on Rockfin who's like, I just checked the temperatures in Russia. It's -7 C. No, it's not, dude. I'm looking at the temperatures right now. It's 46 degrees in Moscow, which seems cold to us, but I think in November, 46 is actually quite warm. And the entire week is 46, 44, 41, 41. I don't know where you got -7. So, I don't know. Are you trying to give me some information? What's your point with giving me like a false temperature reading? FS. Climate change is totally not real, especially when I fucking fudge the temperatures. How about get out of here? Oh, hold on. Let me just give him a very mean commentary back. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, whatever. Just if you're gonna try and bring information to like, say something, at least have the right information. I mean, I'm willing to look at your information, or at least like verify, or have my information that I'm giving verified. If you're gonna, I'm willing to do it. If I'm wrong, give me a check. That's fine. Oh, whoever this is went on to say, New York, Venice, and Italy not sunken yet. Okay. Anyways, I won't go on anymore. Funny stuff. Anyways, when you hold a belief that's not based on data and evidence, it's just a belief, and it's an ideology, or it's a whatever. And those are dangerous, right? When people hold on to beliefs that aren't true because they absolutely must be right, regardless of what the data and evidence tell them, usually leads to bad things. I'm just trying to help you out. If you believe things that are not true, you probably are setting yourself up for bad times in the future. Anyways, in Anchorage, another snowstorm forecast for Anchorage starting early Monday. A winter storm warning is in effect for Anchorage from midnight to noon Monday, with between 6 and 9 inches of snow forecast for the city, up to 12 inches on the Anchorage and Eagle River hillsides. The new snowfall follows last week's storm that buried the city with more than 2.5 feet of snow. I'm sorry you can't see this. I'll try and get this on here. And this is my issue with the truther channels, that I really enjoy, that I think do great work on other subjects. But my issue with the channels that, they walk into the climate change conversation, under-equipped with information, don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they just recycle they regurgitate the same like bullshit on it because they can't be bothered to go like check it out or do any fact finding. And then all their viewers are like, yeah, totally climate change. Blah. You're fucking your viewers up in the future. So if you're saying that you are a an outlet for truth and information, at least try and do the work on some of the things that you do a lot of good work on the things that you're talking about, the information you're talking about, as far as the story, whatever the story might be. And you get to climate change, and and you can't be bothered because you're in an ideological silo and you just believe things that aren't based on data and evidence. So I suggest that you do data and evidence before you actually talk about these things to your audience, because you're setting your audience up to continue being stupid fucking morons about this. And they're stupid fucking morons because you're giving them wrong information and like, and you're not being journalists. So like, why don't you get your shit together? Sorry. It just makes me mad when people like operate. They, oh yeah, we're telling the truth, and we're totally like not non-ideological, and we're no, we're not in the two-party paradigm. But you are in the two-party paradigm. You are in an ideological silo, and you don't do the work. At least not on that. And you're willing to misinform people and lead them to bad outcomes based on a belief system and not on data and evidence. It's absolutely stupid. I get a little bit upset once in a while. Sorry. Anyways. New snowfall follows last week's storm that buried the city with more than 2.5 feet of snow, led to continuing difficulties plowing roads and streets. Snow advisory was in effect to the north, with 5 to 10 inches forecast for the Matanuska Valley and 7 to 10 inches in Susitna Valley. Anyways, I can't read those words very well. Yeah. Well, in Anchorage is, a large urban setting, right? And so they're disturbed by extreme weather, even though, it's Alaska, and you would think like, well, it snows all the time there, but if it snows enough, it'll actually disrupt things. All right, let's look at this from Go Green. We're kind of just walking back through some of these stories. Yeah, and thank you for the commentary on Rockfin. Oop, shoot. I didn't mean to do that. Crap. Hold on one second. That is annoying. I accidentally closed my Rockfin tab. Excuse me. I was just about to say something about it. I got kind of messed up here. So Drew Tex says, we need to be more intellectual about an issue as complex as climate change. I agree. There are tons of different categories that cover the climate crisis, and all of it is important to discuss honestly. Exactly. And just because elites are using climate change as a weapon, they're weaponizing climate change, just like they weaponize other issues that are real issues like racism or whatever it might be. They weaponize these issues to try and like divide people or get people to do whatever, do their bidding, let's say, or ramp up surveillance. Just because the elites are using climate change in an untruthful way doesn't mean that climate change is fake, right? So just because you can't just can't run on the assumption that everything that they're talking about on the TV, on the regular mainstream news, or anything that elites talk about is just immediately false. You can't run on that assumption. That's just the most unintellectual bullshit I've ever heard. So you just, yes, you should definitely be very skeptical of what it is they're saying, but just because they're saying something doesn't necessarily mean it's not true, or especially when it comes to climate change, like climate change can be real and they can be using it for nefarious purposes, or they could be distorting the reality of it for their own ends. Those two things can be true at the same time. So, try and have a little bit of a better understanding of what's really going on in the world. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Um, especially when the people that you go to for real, alternative, truthful news all repeat the same message about climate change. Mostly, they repeat the same message about it. And it's unfortunate because it's to your detriment that they don't do enough of the work. But that's cool. That's why I'm here. That's why this channel is here. So you can get like the truth about things across a wide spectrum of different subjects. Truly without the ideological and even cultural like siloing, right? Like I don't care. Like it's fashionable to think that climate change is fake, and I don't really care about that. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to get in with the people, with the alternative news people, because whatever they may reject me on that point, but again, it's to their detriment. It's to their viewers' detriment, and so that's all. And if I can get them to actually do a little work and do a little, discovery of what's going on, I'm here to help. All right. Let's look at this article from Poppy. Billionaires are teaming up for pro-Israel, anti-Hamas media drive. The campaign is seeking million-dollar donations from dozens of the world's biggest names in media, finance, and tech, Semaphore reported. Yeah, mostly these people with a lot of money and power are really interested in continuing to keep their money and their power, and continuing their schemes upon you and the world. So they're willing to tell you all kinds of crazy, untrue things in order to get what they want, right? We know that, right? That's just, I feel like we know these truths to be self-evident. I think I heard that somewhere. A military billionaire real estate tycoon in the United States is rallying support. Who is he? Just A. Is it? I wish they'd just get right to the point. Who is this billionaire real estate tycoon? Is rallying support for a high-dollar media crusade to boost Israel's image and demonize the Hamas armed group amid global pro-Palestinian solidarity protests. The media campaign, called Facts for Peace. We're just talking about facts, man. Facts. Is seeking million-dollar donations from the dozens of the world's biggest names in media, finance, and technology, according to an email seen by the news website Semaphore. More than 50 individuals are being courted, including former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, Dell CEO Michael Dell, and financier Michael Milken. They have a combined net worth of around $500 billion, Semaphore said. Some of the individuals, such as investor Bill Ackman, have publicly threatened to blacklist pro-Palestinian students who are critical of Israel. Jesus. And I was just playing a video of Bill Ackman saying like kind of cool stuff about COVID vaccines, but at this, the fact that he's backing this stuff makes me just pretty much about face and want to say F Bill Ackman. Have publicly threatened to blacklist pro-Palestinian students who are critical of Israel. Jesus Christ, dude. But, democracy, free speech and all that, rights, civil rights. No, we're going to blacklist pro-Palestinian students who are critical of Israel. Really? I feel like I've cussed enough already in the show today. I feel like I've been a little bit too emotional today, and now I'm getting angry all over again. You know, sometimes the news has that effect on you where you want to cuss out people that can't hear you or curse at the sky. But again, democracy, free speech, every voice heard. No, no, we'll just blacklist you. No, we'll just censor you. On October 10th, Ackman wrote on X, formerly Twitter, that he and other business executives wanted Ivy League universities to disclose the names of students who are part of organizations that signed open letters criticizing Israeli policies in Gaza. Jesus. And honestly, I believe that RFK Jr. Seconded that, so that's pretty disgusting. U.S. billionaire Barry Sternlicht, who started the project, said the campaign would help Israel get ahead of the narrative. As the world has reacted to the intensive Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip, the world has reacted. Oh, they reacted in what way? Like, not bad or good. They just reacted. No, they were like, what the hell is going on? Like, no, we don't like this. They reacted negatively to this. They reacted very strong. No, we don't want this. We don't want to see this. We don't like this. We don't want to have this. That's how they reacted. Al Jazeera, whoever wrote this. Or he's saying that. I guess he's just. Are they quoting him, or are they writing this? I think they are writing this. Public opinion will surely shift as scenes, real or fabricated by Hamas, of civilian Palestinian suffering will surely erode Israel's current empathy in the world community. Sternlicht wrote in an email soliciting contributions from wealthy figures shortly after Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel. We must get ahead of the narrative. What does that mean? Get ahead of the narrative. Does that mean you don't like what people are saying, so we have to get ahead of the negativity that we're experiencing by what? Propagandizing people? I guess that, of course, that's what it means. Hamas's surprise attack on Israel territory on October 7th killed some 1,200 Israelis, according to Israeli officials. Sternlicht's media drive aims to brand Hamas as a terrorist organization. Didn't they already do that? That is not just the enemy of Israel, but the United States. What? Didn't they already do that? Or they're really going. This is just wild. The goal is to draw $50 million in private donations paired with matching contribution from a Jewish charity. Hamas is already designated as a terrorist organization by the U.S., so there's no need for this, and the European Union for its armed resistance against Israeli occupation. That's an interesting sentence. They are designated as a terrorist organization for their armed resistance against Israeli occupation. So if you're resisting occupation of your lands, you're a terrorist. And not a freedom fighter. And not a resistor. Resistance. Remember when everybody had that bumper sticker? Resistance. The bumper sticker when Trump was president? Resistance. I resist. That was, resisting is a good thing. Resisting, whatever, fascism or supposed fascism or assumed fascism. But it just depends on what political side you're on. Because if you resist fascism, generally when you resist fascism by the U.S. or its proxies, it's called terrorism. Resistance. Oh, no, you're a terrorist. Sorry. We get to bomb you. You deserve it. Anyways, um, social media giants such as Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok have been accused of censoring pro-Palestinian voices. So, like, do they need help? They need all the help they can get getting ahead of the narrative. Right? They need all the help they can get squashing people seeing what the truth is. Have been accused of censoring pro-Palestinian voices by reducing their reach, a practice known as shadow banning. Axios reported last month that pro-Palestinian posts on TikTok were being viewed 4 times more than pro-Israeli posts. Well, that should tell you something. This came as people around the world have reacted with horror, thank you, to the mounting death toll in Gaza. What the hell? Oh, shoot. Guys, give me one moment. Oh, this really is not a good turn of events. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to come right back. My call-in stream went down. Oh, all right. Well, hopefully that didn't just completely destroy my call-in stream. That was actually my fault. Question is, can I get the stream back up? I've never had this happen before. It was actually my fault. My my phone died, and I didn't realize. Oh, here we are. Okay. All right. So we're still here. We're still here on call-in. Okay, I didn't kill the stream. I've been user error. My bad, guys. Thank you for waiting. Let's see. This came as people around the world have reacted with horror to the mounting death toll in Gaza, where most of the killed are civilians. Facts for peace. The media. Weren't those some facts right there? Most of the people killed were civilians and not Hamas. And I think most of those killed that were not Hamas civilians were children. Or aren't those facts? But they want facts. Facts for peace is just like, oh my God, the biggest, like, narcissistic gaslight slapping the face. Facts for peace, right? So or whatever. I've got my gang signs all mixed up here. I don't know what the sign for facts is, but peace, I know that's peace. Facts for peace what they mean is lies for war, right? It's exactly, this is like high level 1984 style gaslighting. Lies for war, but we're calling it facts for peace. It's, they do that. They do that nowadays. They name things, to be the opposite of what they actually are in this kind of little mental trick, right? I always say, just watch out if they ever introduce a bill in Congress called Puppies for Everyone, that means they're going to come to kill your dog, right? Like they're coming to euthanize your dog. Puppies for Everyone bill means kill your dog. Or homes for grandmothers means grandmas on the street. That's what we're signing a new bill into law. It's called Homes for Grandmas. Basically, it's going to put grandmas on the street. Anyways, Facts for Peace, the media campaign launched by Sternlicht, aims to win back public favor for Israel, posting videos on its social media pages blaming Hamas for the plight of Palestinians and denying claims of Israeli rights violations. Deny. Most recent video posted on its Facebook page argues that Israel is not an apartheid state. Why? Because we said so. That's all. Is there a, do we need, facts. Oh, that's right. Facts. We're Facts for Peace. Where are the facts? We got to get some facts together to show that Israel is not an apartheid state. What are we going to do? What are we going to show? I don't know. Hey. Show some puppies with people, show some puppies, some videos, have puppies on the brain. Show some videos of, folks in Israel like dancing and playing and laughing by the beach, This is not an apartheid state. Everybody, we're just nice people. We love everybody. That'll prove it. The thing is I don't know, Facts for Peace is going to have to come up with some facts. And then they're also going to have to tell you that somehow they're for peace while they're killing people. This is going to be a good one. I'm really interested to see what goes on here. How do they work this one? Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Well, let's look at. There's actually some facts here that Israel actually admitted. Hold on. Where is it? I had this. I had it. This is it. From Holding Biden Accountable. One of these days it's going to load. Holding Biden accountable says Biden, I don't believe Palestine's self-reported death toll. Biden's own diplomats, it's actually much higher. So that's actually from a headline from November 11th. U.S. officials say Gaza death toll likely higher than what's being reported. U.S. officials say the death toll is likely higher. Israeli newspaper reports 20,000 Palestinians killed by Israeli strikes in Gaza. This is Israel saying this, giving you some facts for peace. The facts of peace is that they killed 20,000 people. Those are some facts that people are going to have to, consider, I think. Good Lord. The death toll reported by Yedio Aeronaut, I don't know how to pronounce that, citing a senior Israeli security official, dwarfs the figure from the Palestinian Health Ministry. More than what the Palestinian Health Ministry is reporting. 20,000. My God. Yeah. But let's, blacklist anybody who has a problem with this. Blacklist students who have a problem with this. That sounds about right. That sounds like some democracy, right? That doesn't sound like fascism at all. That's not fascist. Unless you oppose it, then you might be fascist because, we found a Mein Kampf translation into Arabic in a Hamas, supposedly in a Hamas hideout okay, I do want to cover this story. Ukrainian military officer coordinated the Nordstream attack. This is pretty big. I just wanted to get a little more information on this story. The headline pretty much says it all, right? Basically, in the Washington Post, they're throwing Ukraine under the bus, and they're also kind of admitting that. Right, who's the ally of Ukraine? Anybody? Anybody? They're kind of admitting that we, at the very least, we probably had knowledge of this, right? And it's come on now. But they're throwing Ukraine under the bus. That's what they're doing. This is from Business Insider. Maybe it's just a repost of the story. Ukraine Special Forces colonel played a key role in sabotaging the Nord Stream gas pipelines. A report says the Nord Stream gas pipelines were damaged in an attempted sabotage last year. A new investigation found that a senior Ukrainian military official coordinated the attack, but the investigation said President Zelensky likely did not have any knowledge. He didn't know. A senior Ukrainian military official, they just say, I hate these articles because they say the same thing like over and over. The pipelines, which transported natural gas from Russia to Germany, were damaged in a series of underwater bombings last year, sparking multiple investigations and resulting in both Russia and Ukraine pointing the finger at each other. The Washington Post and the German outlet Der Spiegel said in a joint investigation published Saturday, just wait. Just wait. In a joint investigation published Saturday that Roman Chervinsky, 48, a colonel who served in Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, was the coordinator of the operation. The investigation provides the most direct evidence yet linking Ukraine to the sabotage. Chervinsky did not plan the operation or act alone, but he managed the logistics support for a 6-person team that traveled in a sailboat that they'd rented using fake identities and used deep-sea diving equipment to place explosive charges on the pipelines, the Washington Post said. The paper's investigation is based on interviews with Ukrainian officials, other European officials, and other people with inside knowledge of the operation speaking anonymously. The colonel has deep ties to Ukraine intelligence services and took orders from the country's top general, Valery Zaluzhny, the paper reported. This is silly. This is kind of a funny story because on some levels it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has long denied his country's involvement in the attacks, which resulted in a massive gas leak, pretty large environmental disaster, right? Strained diplomatic relations between Ukraine and Western countries. But the Post reported that Zelensky would not have known about the Nord Stream operation and that those involved reported to Zaluzhny. The conclusion is based on intelligence reporting obtained by the CIA through the accused Pentagon leaker Jack Teixeira. Okay. Okay. Well, as Chris Martinson said, Looks like the CIA is all done with Ukraine. Let's see. Oh, this is exactly what he said. The CIA would like you to know that the U.S. is done with Ukraine, and it seems that they're gonna very quietly and slowly beat a hasty retreat. They've also I heard, not confirmed. Maybe I should confirm this right now. That they were urging that the U.S. Diplomatic Corps is urging Ukraine to start peace negotiations. So let's confirm that. Or let's see if I can get some more information on that. This is what I heard. I've heard from several sources. MSNBC 8 days ago. So yeah, this is kind of old news at this point. Again, from Business Insider, U.S. officials are concerned that Ukraine is running out of troops and have hinted at peace talks with Russia. Western officials have suggested Ukraine consider peace negotiations with Russia. This was after a whole, I don't know, how long has it been? Year or two? Oh, no. There won't be any, we don't negotiate with terrorists. No. There are no negotiations. And they pretty much publicly said that there would be no, talks of ceasefire, negotiations whatsoever. And now all of a sudden it's an about face. Very interesting. The U.S. is also concerned about continuing to be able to send aid, especially as focus shifts to the Israeli-Hamas war. Western officials have begun broaching the topic of holding peace negotiations with Russia with the Ukrainian government, a report says. The conversations have included broadly considering what Ukraine might need to give up to secure a deal. One current senior U.S. official and one former senior U.S. official familiar with the discussions told NBC News. Excuse me. These discussions have been begun because of growing fears among U.S. and European officials that the war has reached a stalemate and that it will be won by whoever can hold out the longest. Guess who that might be? Ukraine's long-anticipated counteroffensive began 5 months ago and has achieved negligible gains. They're admitting that they haven't won anything. This counteroffensive hasn't done anything. They're admitting. They were, it's for the longest time it's been like, oh yeah, we're totally, we're kicking butt. We're totally kicking butt. They're losing. We're winning. And no, they're not. They're admitting they haven't gotten anything. Western officials are concerned about keeping up the supply of aid to Ukraine, with the Biden administration having spent $43.9 billion, only $43.9 billion. I think that's a very, very conservative, very low number, billion on security assistance per the Pentagon. Biden administration officials are also concerned that Ukraine is, I think it's got to be like triple or quadruple that at least. Concerned that Ukraine is running out of forces as it struggles to recruit more troops for the fight. Russia, meanwhile, has a population over 3 times the size of Ukraine, seems to have an endless supply of soldiers to send to the front lines. Well, they also have been underestimating the casualties of the Ukraine war, right? The casualties are actually something astonishing. I don't know if it's a couple 100,000 or more than that, 500,000. One estimate I saw was like 500,000, which is just seems like a massive number. Um, that seems like just a massive number of casualties. But they've been, they've been kind of trying to keep it. Yes. A quick Google search: 500,000 estimated casualties during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. Jesus. 500,000. That is just, that's an insane number. That is a massive number of casualties. All right. Well, and we can only hope that that will end, that conflict will end ASAP. And so they can stop the carnage. Jesus. Okay. That does it for me, guys. Thanks so much. Before I go, really good ways to support this show. If you feel inclined, or if you enjoy the show, if you appreciate the show being here every day, buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. Cash App at Red Llama Music. Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom. PayPal.me/Kevin Sandbloom. Zelle. You can Zelle me at Kevin Sandbloom at protonmail.com. You can also support me on Patreon. You can also support me with Super Chats and Super Rays. And I will not see you tomorrow, y'all. I'm going to be here. I'll be back Tuesday at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I don't know if we can still call it the regular time, but we're still calling it the regular time. The regular time is 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I will be here Tuesday at that time. Again, I won't be here tomorrow. So thank you all for watching, and till next time, peace.